Well, that didn't go to plan. You're with me though. It's Rob Ellen in the Medicine Show Radio Moose Mobile with all sorts of technical problems. Had an hour to set it up, and I'd set it all up, and the computer decided to freeze on me. So anyway, we're here. It's a special program. We're looking at the Ardersier Folk Club. So I suppose it's a venue special, but it's also Anthony Toner, who was there at the Folk Club, and we managed to get a chat with Anthony and a couple of songs from the gigs. So you can see Anthony in your bottom right hand corner there, so at least that seems to be working. Let's just check that the stream is working. Guys, thanks for joining me. I can have a look to see where everybody's joining me from. Let's open up the chat frame first of all, and who shall I be tonight? We are broadcasting to 19 channels, so I'm going to actually be... Oh no, it's only given me a few of them, it's not giving me them all. So we'll be Medicine Show Radio. There is a chat frame on your page. Whether it connects into the studio here is another thing. Some of them do, some of them don't. You can try. Let me know what the feed's like. If it's nice and steady, that's fabulous. And I'll put a welcome in there. And we can do this. If you have any questions about the show as it unfolds this evening, you can put a question in the chat frame, so we can be actually interactive as the show unfolds. As I said, it's a special show. It's a special venue show featuring the Ardersier Folk Club this evening, and in particular Anthony Toner. Anthony is from the north of Ireland, iconic Irish troubadour. I met him and was knocked out by his work in Toronto at Folk Alliance, and I was totting it up some 9 years ago now. It was my first Folk Alliance. He was there in the company of the wonderful Ralph McLean, no less, and he dips for Ralph on BBC Radio Ulster when Ralph's on holiday. Anthony gets the presenter's gig on BBC Radio Ulster. That's my favourite BBC country show. It's all moved around, actually. I wonder. Yeah, the schedule's been moved around. Anyway, let's get on with the music. Let's get over to Ardersier Folk Club. Ardersier is just slightly along the coast. The next town to my hometown of Nairn in the Murray. Well, it is actually in Highland region, although I'm in Murray. I'm in Lossiemouth tonight as well. It's in the Highland region. It's a beautiful little spot. I'll maybe see if I can bring some photos up of the actual place, and the club itself has been going for 5 years, and I think they've done 3 festivals now, so it's a relatively new club, but there's always been a hardcore of folk musicians in that wee tune, and they really have gelled together to keep this club going, and we found it in good form and in good company. This is Anthony Toner. A little tune first and then a song. You know, I have got a problem with the so bear with me, guys. I'm going to have to delve into the... Let's just stop that for now. It's not that. This is where I start talking to myself. It's so. Let's pull that out, the headphones out, see if that helps things. Try that. This is nuts. I did a sound check and everything, and it doesn't seem to want to. Let me just have a look in the settings. Again, thanks guys for holding with me on this. It looks as if it's coming through. Why would it not be? Would it be that? Yes! Alright, so we're getting somewhere. We have some... We've got the theme music at least. I picked the theme music basically because it is Loud George's birthday today. So I'm going to play out with a bit of... There you go, that's happening now. Alright, let's go back to the beginning on that. Anthony Toner.
Brian O'Lynn was a great old Irish song about a character who seems to be always doing things with his wife and his mother-in-law. There's some great lyrics. I haven't learned them all, but there's some great lyrics in there. For example, Brian O'Lynn and his wife and wife's mother, they all got into the bed together. The night was cold and the blankets were thin. Right close to the wall, says Brian O'Lynn. I love that. There's also, let's see if I can remember. Brian O'Lynn and his wife and wife's mother, they all went over the water together. The bridge tumbled down and they all fell in. We'll go home by the water, says Brian O'Lynn. Okay, as Dave said earlier, I've been lucky enough to be touring for the last maybe 6 or 7 years as special guest with Barbara Dixon on a whole series of acoustic shows that she does. If Barbara tours with a full band, they do 2 45-minute sets and they don't have any support act. But if she tours with her acoustic thing with Nick Holland, she always has a special guest, and it's been me for the last 6 or 7 years, which is a remarkable feat of generosity because it gives me the chance to go out in front of quite often a sold-out Barbara Dixon audience who've never heard of me, you know. And at the end of my set, you know, people kind of line up, you know, to buy CDs and stuff, much as you will later, you know. So it's very good. But this is Barbara's favourite song of mine. It's the most miserable, depressing thing I've ever written, but she absolutely loves it. I wrote this song after reading far too many John McGahern novels. Do we have any John McGahern fans in? Brilliant. I'll tell him next time I see him. McGahern died about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Great Irish novelist. Not an enormous collection of work, probably about 9 novels, a couple of collections of short stories, and a really amusing memoir. But the books all kind of center around very similar themes. You just have to look at the names of the books, like The Dark, The Barracks, The Pornographer. You know what I mean? So these are all books that kind of center around lives of blunted ambition, rural isolation, ongoing ecological catastrophe, and the threat of terrorist violence. I'd read a lot of those. So this is called The Road to 5 Mile Town. Or, as a BBC announcer at the height of the Troubles once called it, Fifi Milton.
Okay, so we seem to have a frozen screen again. And we haven't got a frozen screen again. There are some issues. Let me just check the internet speed. I'll hold Anthony back. I'm sorry for this. Okay. If needs be, I'll deploy the all-time technical rectification technique, which is, if it's not working, reboot it. Let's try a speed test first and see what the internet is doing. Nah, it's dropped a little bit. That's my studious look here. This is my I am on camera look here. And no, there's plenty there. So there is a problem with the computer. So I'm going to try it once more. Now, if it freezes again, and you can tell me what's what at your end in the chat frame, I'll be back. I'll just reboot and come back instantly, so there will be a break in transmission, but hopefully not for long. Let's try it. She set her sights upon seems to have settled down. We're listening to, you're listening to IMTV, actually viewing IMTV. It'd be nice if you can tell us where you are viewing from. Actually, chat frame is open now. We can do this if you let us know. If you have any questions, let us know how the feed's coming through. It seems to be settling down now, so I do apologise for the bumpy start. So we were talking about Ardersier Folk Club, which I think now is in its 5th year. They've had a couple of festivals. I started my Celtic Fringe Stravaig at the Ardersier Folk Festival in September, early September, and headed to Ireland. It's as I say, only 5 years old, but it has started to gather its own traditions, and I want to show you this. It's just lovely. It came up on the floor spots yesterday. Excuse me while I concentrate on getting the right video. And you know what? I've got a bit of a clip of a chat that we had together as well with Anthony, and I've also got another song. So what I will do, I'll play the song that was interrupted so that you get the full quality of that song. So I'll play out with that a bit later on, but we're going to play this. It's part of the Ardersier tradition that at least somebody leads the entire community in community singing on more than one song, but particularly on this song. For it's the popular one at the club. It's called Follow the Heron Home, and it's written, many people think it's a traditional song actually, but it's written by Karine Polwart, and I'll tell you a bit more about the song, and you'll get a real flavour for the warmth in the room, and how vibrant this folk club is. It's from the Ardersier Folk Club, and these are our two stalwarts of the club. They're Correlach. Yeah, Correlach. I probably got that wrong actually. Anyway, I'll check on all of that, and we'll come back after we have a look at the community singing at the folk club.
The back of the winter is broken, light lingers long by the door. The seeds of the summer have spoken in gowns that bloom on the shore. By night and day will sport and will delight as the dawn dances over the bay. Sweet blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron home. That's lovely. In darkness we cradled our sorrow and stroked all our fires with fear. Now these bones that lie empty and hollow are ready for gladness to cheer. And long may you sing of your salmon and the snow-scented sound of your home, while the north wind delivers its sermon of ice and salt water and stone. By night and day we'll sport and we'll play and delight as the dawn dances over the bay. Sweet blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron home. By night and day we'll sport and we'll play and delight as the dawn dances over the bay. Sweet blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron home. Sweet blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron
Very cool. Always sends shivers down my backbone. That never get fed up hearing the club singing that particular song, and basically mostly musicians come along, but of course it's open to everybody. So the quality of the singing, the quality of the floor spots at the Ardersier Folk Club is very, very good, and there's always somebody shows up that you haven't seen before as well, which is always adds a bit to it as well. So everybody's welcome. It's every Tuesday. It happens. We're going to be called. Well, next time I'll be back, we'll be with Tom Mason, the Blue Buccaneer. We're going to have some pirate songs from Tom at the club as a special guest. He won't be a concert guest, but he will be a featured artist that evening and be in the round with everybody else. So, which is something that happens from time to time as well when there's a professional artist on tour. The club are very accommodating that way. There is a group on Facebook, and you'd be very welcome to join the group. You'll get more information on music in general. There's members post up their favourite videos and stuff like that from time to time, and the events are posted there as well. That is, and I know it's a bit complicated to jot down, but if you just go to Facebook, if you're on Facebook, just go to Facebook and ask it where the Ardersier Folk Club is, and it's pretty clear. It'll get straight through to that. Now, this is a nice studio facility, but I can only queue up one video at a time, and we have had one song. As I said, with the break in transmission, I'll replay that song towards the end. It is a particularly poignant song, and there's a tune before it and a little story that goes with it, of course. And talking of stories, very erudite, very interesting human being in all ways anyway, and always good stories between the songs. And it was nice when we were chatting, I got a nice insight into the creative process. So let's bring that on. And you are in the Moose, the Medicine Show Radio, Moose Mobile, wherever you're viewing, please do follow that page. It will, when I go live, it will send out a notification and let you know whenever these shows go live and when the events are posted as well. So thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for spending your evening with me and the Moose, and let's go back to the Ardersier.
So this is a familiar place for me and for viewers on IMTV. I am home. It feels home. We're at the Ardersier Folk Club and on the Murray coast of the Highlands of Scotland, and auspicious or what? This fella I've been chasing all around Ireland to try and get to see you, and I get home and you're playing at my home venue.
I'm on the run.
Anthony Toner.
Hi folks.
Stravager yourself, Anthony. You're back to work again now, eh?
Yeah, it's been a really strange time, but lovely to be back at work. And some of it is all the way back, and some of it is still finding its way back. But it's
I
there.
think we're all in the same, all in the same boat. It is there now, though. Eh? I mean, I was through the north of Ireland and Donegal as well, and it was busy.
Yeah.
You know, people starting to come out, but definitely stuff going on.
Starting to come back, you know. Yeah. People are starting to get fed up with Netflix.
Starting to.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to find there. So that wee tour of Ireland, big tour. You had quite a lot of dates.
Yeah, I was really busy last year in October and December, and in the middle I was away with Barbara Dixon for almost a month.
Lovely.
Of up and down England, Scotland, Wales. But the dates in Ireland was a really good run for me, about 14 or 15 shows right through to Christmas. And the thing about that, of course, is that it's difficult to go back. You've got to kind of leave it for a while before you go back to those shows, you know. So this year I'm sort of planning to take a quieter year and try and concentrate on some new territory, which brings me to Scotland, which is always a joy. I'm going to be over a couple of times this year. Yeah,
and looking at your dates, they're all really nice, very well established, mostly folk clubs you're doing this
time. The folk clubs, this month I'm doing folk clubs, and I'll be back again in October. I'm going to be hopefully doing something in Glasgow, Americana, with Kevin Morris. But in there I've also got Kirkcaldy on the 5th of October.
Hoi!
I just love
Foley Centre. Hoi!
Yes. So
my favourite folk club in the world.
I'll be back there, and I've also, luckily enough, I've also got a little run of shows with Barbara Dixon again in late June, early July.
Talking about Fife and Kirkcaldy, Barbara Dixon.
Oh yeah. So I'm in Dunfermline tomorrow night.
So you are at the folk club, so there'll be some folk coming. It's where I was brought up, actually.
Yeah.
My brother was.
I've been there once. I did a show.
I was born there.
At the hall, at the Carnegie Hall with Barbara a couple of years ago. You know.
I got a story. You're going to say this isn't true, and I made it up, but it isn't. It's true. I was actually in Dunfermline, wandering around, taking in some of the sights. A lot of history in Dunfermline. Of course, it was the first capital of Scotland. And a tourist came up to me and says, "How'd you get to the Carnegie Hall?" He did. I couldn't believe my luck. I looked at him twice.
There's the punchline.
Practice, my boy, practice. So yeah, Dunfermline tomorrow. That's fabulous.
I've got a nice 3 on this trip, which I love. I'm obviously here tonight. First time, Ardersier, Dunfermline, and then I'm in Crail.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thursday night, which I
So it's the world tour of Fife then, let's face it.
And I was there. I got the gig because I opened for Barbara and Rab.
Yeah.
Lovely Rab. I know, I was so sad. And
Jesus.
And we finished that show, you know, they were waiting for me outside, and I was still talking to Rab about places that he could play in Belfast.
He was getting back into it.
Well, he really, I mean, he played in Belfast years before, and he said, I haven't been back in years, I don't know who to talk to. And I said, let's sort some stuff
Easy
out,
enough.
you know? I was so sad to hear that he'd gone.
Yeah, and he didn't linger, it was in and out. Damn it.
It's just, just really starting to get the norm, you know.
So, how about yourself with music-wise and with records? Let's see what's coming.
It's been going okay. I put a record out at the end of last year. I put a double album out called The Book of Absolution.
Because you had the day job for a long time, didn't you?
Yeah, I only just went sort of full-time with music about 7 years ago.
It was always music, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was always sort of fitting music in around it. So now I'm kind of doing that full-time. And it's hit and miss, Rob, as you can understand, you know. The traditional ways that musicians used to make money have all changed.
Yes.
You know, so there's new things that are happening there. So I mean, I've just started a Patreon account to get some regular funding in from that, from supporters. But you know, CD sales and the usual kind of things that you used to rely on is not the same. Radio plays. And
Did I notice you were doing some songwriter camps and workshops and things like
I've done a few of those. That's something that I'm kind of holding on the long finger. I'd like to do more of those, and it's something actually I think I should maybe speak to some of the folk festivals about, because it's a useful thing to have on a Saturday morning, you know. I did one a couple of years ago at Glenfarg for their festival, and it seemed to go down really well. Because I tend to do things that's much more about how do you get yourself in the right place to write songs, rather than just showing people what I do. How do you actually get your vocabulary to be better? How do you open up the instrument?
Is it a frame of mind thing?
A bit like that, and it's a bit about sort of paying attention and
get the yoga done and
the crystals.
Yeah, get the crystals out. A bit of Tai Chi.
Read some poems, you know.
Really? Is that your hint? Is that if I had to ask for one hint on how to program the brain to get a song out, what would it be?
For me, I personally believe read a lot, write a lot.
Right.
Write a journal. Write a diary.
Yeah, you do that. You've got a nice blog going. I thoroughly enjoy doing that as well. That's part of my thing.
And I think the more you do that, the more open your channel of expression is.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and actually write a song, it's already something in motion. That's what I find.
Yeah.
And I think the more you soak yourself in words, and the bigger your vocabulary gets, the more easy it is to find the line, to find the rhyme that you need. You know, so I from a young age, I was an only child, and I just devoured poetry and novels and stuff like that. So I've never been stuck for a line.
Right, I'm not going to hold you back. It's filling up nicely here. We're in great company tonight. This is one of my favourite places in the world. We're at the Ardersier Folk Club with Anthony Toner. I've just got one other thing to ask you. You do a bit of broadcasting. You get in and with a mutual friend in Roth McLean as well. And as you travel, you will have met a lot of people supporting and doing floor spots and that. Pick me one person that I should go and have a listen to. I'm sorry to everybody else.
But in Northern Ireland?
Yes, that is happening. I'm sorry to push out everybody else. Joshua Burnside.
He's a strange one. It's kind of modern meets old style folk, old style folk instrumentation. Really, really interesting writer. Very, he kind of tears up the rule book of how you write songs. The lines are all at different lengths, and there's no chorus and everything. But I find him mesmerising.
Excellent. Say that name again.
Joshua Burnside.
Because a good broadcaster always says the name twice, doesn't he? Joshua Burnside, that's great. Looking forward to tonight. We'll record a couple of songs and broadcast those.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I'll find a bit of Joshua as well, and we'll play that out when we do the broadcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Lovely to see you.
So yeah, apologies again, guys. It seems like the stream is freezing again. I'm interested on Joshua Burnside. I had a listen myself, and he is fabulous. So I'm going to try and do, if the technology will allow me, I'll see if we can bring up a video of Joshua's as well. Thank Anthony for that tip. I will go over to what was going to be the closing song on this session. Again, thanks for joining us. I will be back. I'll try and play the one that broke up in the hope that this one doesn't break up as well, and we'll see if we can get some Joshua Burnside for us as well. Let's try to see if I will add the caveat: if this does freeze, I will just reboot it, and there will be a break in transmission, but we'll be able to come back and try again. So this is back to the Ardersier Folk Club, and thanks to them for allowing this access, and Anthony as well for allowing us to stream a couple of songs, and I really enjoyed our chat with him as well. Let's have Anthony.
This one again was inspired by my mother. My mother went through a whole series of terrible operations and rehabs and amputations and infections, and just a terrible kind of litany of things. And at one point she was in the Royal Hospital, Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast, and they had given her morphine. And that's a funny thing to watch. Have you ever visited a relative who's on morphine? Very, very vivid, delusional dreams. My mother had dreams that she was absolutely convinced had happened. She said to me at one point that she had been taken out of the hospital in the middle of the night and into a lift and downstairs and into the car park where there was a rave going on. People were standing around braziers with their hoods up and everything. And I said, you know that there's no way that could actually happen. And she said, oh, it did, because they took up a collection and I hadn't got my money with me. It was really detailed, you know. But I was kind of teasing her. I was teasing her about being addicted to morphine and all the rest of it. And she had two of her sisters that were visiting her, and she said, oh, there's nothing wrong with my mind. And I said, well, prove something, you know, show me that, you know, prove that. I was just kind of winding her up. And she did this thing where she just recited all of the books of the Bible in order. Mm-hmm. Is that a thing? People used to do that here?
My mother did, yeah.
Really? Yeah. I had never seen it before, and I didn't know that she knew it. I mean, she had a remarkable memory for things. She was a big Elvis fan. So the day she died, she could have told you what Elvis's number was in the army. You know, his GI number.
Yeah.
Why you remember that? But anyway. So she named all these books of the Bible, and I was kind of flabbergasted, and I looked at her, and her two sisters looked at me and went, mm-hmm. You know, like, don't dare doubt it, you know? But she also had told me that during the time she was in hospital, nuns had come around. Now she was born Presbyterian, and when she married my father, she converted to Catholicism. And I was born and brought up as a Catholic. But I had Presbyterian uncles and aunts on one side of the family and Catholics on the other, you know, so it made for very tense weddings occasionally. But yeah, the phrase that they used in Northern Ireland is that she turned with him. Turned, you know, like traitorous. Anyway, but she said that the nuns had come round and they'd left this little prayer with her and sat with her for a while and all the rest of it. So all of these kind of things went into this song, which is called the Night Prayer of St. Augustine. I hope I can remember this. I haven't played it for a while. After 3 days of morphine visions, in a
from
Tuesday night, you recited the books of the Bible just to show that your head was alright. It was a trick you had learned as a youngster, some Sunday in some dusty old hall. You were golden as the sun on an acre of corn when nothing
letters and gospels and prayers, Corinthians, Romans, and Hebrews, the Acts of Revelation, James. And then you told me the Sisters of Mercy had been with you the previous day, and they left this little card on your table in case you decided to pray. Now you're gone, but I still keep it with me in the hope that I'll get away clean. Some nights I sleep with it under my tongue, the night prayer of St. Augustine.
On to the west part of the cliff edge. Man, like a sack of spuds, a ringing bell. Oh man, the way he fell, like a sack of spuds, a ringing bell. So you tell me why.
Right then, let's see if we can get this going. Hopefully that'll steady it down a bit. And I was saying I'll need to go and find Tom Mason's video again now. That's the problem with it. So it's working better. I can tell already it's getting there. So let's play the first track that kept going juddery on us earlier on, from Anthony Tona's lovely set at the Ardersier Folk Club.
Brian O'Lynn was a great old Irish song about a character who seems to be always doing things with his wife and his mother-in-law. There's some great lyrics. I haven't learned them all, but there's some great lyrics in there. For example, Brian O'Lynn and his wife and wife's mother, they all get into the bed together. The night was cold and the blankets were thin. Lie close to the wall, says Brian O'Lynn. I love that. There's also, let's see if we can remember. Brian O'Lynn and his wife and wife's mother, they all went over the water together. The bridge tumbled down and they all fell in. We'll go home by the water, says Brian O'Lynn. Okay, as Dave said earlier, I've been lucky enough to be touring for the last maybe 6 or 7 years as special guest with Barbara Dixon on a whole series of acoustic shows that she does. If Barbara tours with a full band, they do 2 45-minute sets and they don't have any support act. But if she tours with her acoustic thing with Nick Holland, she always has a special guest, and it's been me for the last 6 or 7 years, which is a remarkable feat of generosity because it gives me the chance to go out in front of quite often a sold-out Barbara Dixon audience who've never heard of me, you know. And at the end of my set, you know, people kind of line up, you know, to buy CDs and stuff, much as you will later, you know. So it's very good. This is Barbara's favourite song of mine. It's the most miserable, depressing thing I've ever written, but she absolutely loves it. I wrote this song after reading far too many John McGahern novels. Do we have any John McGahern fans in? Brilliant. I'll tell them next time I see him. McGahern died about 6 or 7 years ago. Great Irish novelist. Not an enormous collection of work, probably about 9 novels, a couple of collections of short stories, and a really amusing memoir. But the books all kind of center around very similar themes. You just have to look at the names of the books, like The Dark, The Barracks, The Pornographer. You know what I mean? So these are all books that kind of center around lives of blunted ambition, rural isolation, ongoing ecological catastrophe, and the threat of terrorist violence. I'd read a lot of those. So this is called The Road to 5 Mile Town. Or, as a BBC announcer at the height of the Troubles once called it, Fifi Milton.
Well, it looks like we got all the way through one song without it breaking up on Anthony. And again, apologies for the bumpy ride this evening on the second show we did today. Actually, it's been an interesting sort of day. The internet's robust here, so I thought that we would chance around with the second show. Steve Dan Mills was in the Moose earlier on. and excuse me, wherever you're listening from now, there should be on that page a Steve session that we did in the Moose with Steve Dan Mills, who has written hit songs for the likes of Rex Allen Jr. no less, and we were talking about all of that and his years in Nashville, how Tommy Emmanuel has covered one of his songs, and how he played the festival hall with Tommy Emmanuel. He was at the Lossiemouth Folk Club on Tuesday, so I wasn't, obviously, but we did manage to catch up, and thanks to Malcolm Leaper for giving us the tip before he left Lossiemouth. So, and very nice singer, really interesting character, and that is on the page you're viewing at the moment here on IMTV. A couple of things to tell you about, and we'll bring a graphic up. The MSS appeal is underway, and I thank everybody for their donations towards this idea. The idea being that I, this time next year, have a mobile stage and studio bass in a trailer. The ultimate goal would be to have a slipstream, and I know exactly how I would have it if we can't raise the funds. It would be great to actually stream from a slipstream and to make it a replica of Ronnie Lane's LMS, which was the first mobile studio ever, and instead of having antique now analog gear, recording gear in there, we would go for fully digital video gear, which I'm slowly accumulating. It would bring the level of these broadcasts up, and it would also mean that I could set up somewhere, wherever we go, set up the MMSS and invite artists from around that particular area and explore in the Moose itself that would be pulling it, but bring artists into the base and stay in circumference of, because I know where I can park this thing up now, and it would give me more room. It would mean I wouldn't have to break down every time and put it back up together every time we broadcast something, and just basically give me more space to operate in, which would be a luxury. And so the hope is there's a GoFundMe page being posted, and you can find that also on the page that you are broadcasting, that I am broadcasting to you from, and I can put a little graphic up on that just to show you where that page is. There you go, there's a GoFundMe page, and on that basis the Medicine Show is brought to you entirely by public funding, and we wouldn't be able to do this without your kind donations. You can donate either on the GoFundMe towards MMS, or there is a PayPal address on the page that you are viewing, and this is that PayPal address. Also, Restream, the app that we use to broadcast, have facilitated this now, so you can buy me a coffee, and I'm beginning to need it. I'm starting to wilt a little bit with it, so the donations are easy to get in, and again, I do thank everybody for helping to keep the wheels on the medicine show, and the donations coming in. Tom Mason, talking about coming in, will be with us in about 3 weeks' time. He is starting his tour at the end of the month with support of the House Concert Hub and Medicine Show, Medicine Music. I'll be picking him up and he'll be touring in the Moose, so we will be getting some of the crack every day from the road. It starts, more or less starts in, let's bring the dates up, see if I can see them. If I will have to expand this page to be able to see that, and wait a minute, I can do this on my other, on the phone. So 7th, 5th, we are in the wonderful radio rooms in Berwick. 7th and 8th, the weekend of the coronation at the Conway Pirate Festival, full band show that. Then we go to, and let me just bring this in as well. I've got a bit of Pigman to tell you what we're doing in Llanfaglan. I probably shouldn't have messed with it. No, there's Pigman. Let's see what he's saying.
Hello, I'm a friend of Rob Helen. I'm Pigman, and Rob's got a new thing on, which is raising money for his new Moose mobile, which he's going to need. Which is it's going to be a big, beautiful aluminium, gorgeous recording studio, which loads of people will be able to tap into with love and music and wonderfulness. And it's going to be on Tuesday the 9th of May, which is at the Cross Keys. There's going to be like a
fundraiser, benefit,
and wiggly thumb and finger movements. Okay, enjoy.
Pigman and Tom Mason, the Blue Buccaneer, added pirate, on the what date? 9th, is it?
9th of
9th
May.
of May in the Cross Keys, here in Llanfaglan. Thank you very much. Did I say that right? Llanfaglan.
Llanfaglan.
There we are.
Cross Keys.
So the 9th of May, we're back with our friends in Llanfaglan and taking Tom Mason, which is satisfying. Tom, who's just apart from being a pirate, of course, just a wonderful blues guitarist. So then we're off to the Peaks Hotel, that is in Castleton, Peak District, which regular viewers would have seen me covering when we were on our Stravaig through Derbyshire. So it'd be nice to take him back there. Kilnessy, Hull, we're going to the Beggars Folk Club at the Crown and Anchor, which would be great. Filey, we're at the Filey Literature Festival, York, and a house concert coming up. Ardersier Folk Club, which we just mentioned. Then skipping through to the Crystal House in Strathpeffer, might be calling into End of Spell and Tour to walk the plank at Andrea's. Let's hope that comes off. Pitlochry on the 20th, 2 festivals on the one day to close it all out. That's March into Pitlochry on the 20th, 1 p.m, first act on, and then the last acoustic act on the Festival of the Crags, Straven. Wonderful stuff. I think through to all, how do that QR code, going to free. So if I can get rid of that, again, thanks for any donation. for any shares as well. It is all much appreciated. Okay, this is The Wind and the Rain. It is Tom Mason seeing us out of the show. Thanks for your patience.
I wanna